And welcome to everybody who is on Zoom. Can you hear okay?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, good. Um, we've got about 10 minutes for each of our many well choreographed presentations. So I would ask you all to watch out for the hook.
Right, so that we leave at 7 o'clock.
Right.
And we're not sitting here until 11 o'clock at night.
You never know. A few days ago, we had a lot less on our plate here. But
Right,
here we
right.
go. Okay, so Boston Police, Captain Driscoll or Sergeant Wallace or Officer Masaccio, who's gonna tell us?
See Officer Massage.
Yeah.
I see Sergeant Wallace. What's his name?
Yep, this is Officer Masaccio. We're all here, but I'll start off with you guys. They can jump in if necessary. Good afternoon, everyone. Try to be quick for you. I know you said you got a lot of stuff tonight. Just a couple things to follow up on from the last month. I remember somebody mentioned the sign at Purchase and Oliver that was meant to prevent people from taking that illegal left turn and going into the seaport. I reached. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was muted. Can you hear me?
Got that. You were good. Go ahead.
Okay. So did you hear what I said before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So that left turn from Purchase Street that people were illegally taking to go into the seaport. I reached out to the transportation department and I went back. I want to say 2 weeks ago, they did replace the sign. So the sign is back over there. And then I know we talked about Sail Boston. I went to a meeting over in the North End with the people who are organizing it. And the only traffic shutdowns it's going to be that 11th to the 16th. And the only shutdown should be that Saturday and the Monday from the morning into the afternoon. I know you guys had a lot of questions about that. So I got the contact information for the special events manager for the mayor's office. I did mention to him that you guys had some questions and he did offer to attend one of the meetings. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I can put you in touch with him before the next meeting and we can get going.
He's already reached out to us and we thank you and I appreciate your making that connection because he will be at, I believe it's our April meeting.
Awesome.
It can be made, but he's definitely on our agenda for a future meeting and I think it's next meeting. Thank you.
Awesome. No problem at all. And then just quickly, if you have any questions about this, I'll take them at the end, but I won't go too far into it. Myself, Sergeant Wallace, and Rebecca Gavel from the Brick were looking at the crime stats specific for the Wharf District. We were comparing it from January 1st up until today of last year for January 1st up until today of this year. Nothing went up. Almost everything is down. There's only a couple areas where we stayed the same. If you have any questions, I can pull that up at the end. But just one thing I want to mention on that is I know we talked about it before. We do the Code 19s. It's when you see an officer either walking around or maybe sitting in their car monitoring traffic in the area. Last year up until today, there was only 10 for the Wharf District, and this year there's 157. So that's something that Sergeant Wallace is big on. So we can thank him for that huge improvement on that. That's something that we're happy about. Then I got a couple of reports for you guys. It was another good month down there. Nothing major occurred. First one I got for you. This is 12:36 p.m. on Friday, March 6th. Officers responded to 245 Summer Street for a fight. They spoke to the victim who stated that he was walking around down the street wearing a Donald Trump hat when a couple took issue with that. And he said that the male of the two suspects sucker punched them physical struggle ensued, and then the other party did produce a butterfly knife. There was no stabbing or anything. He just was threatening him with it. The officers also spoke to a witness who said that they just bumped into each other walking down the street and then started fighting. So that one's assigned to a detective, and I know we got some cameras down there. So hopefully they'll make some headway on that. Then I just got one more for you guys. This is about 1 a.m. on Wednesday, March 12th. Officers responded to a fight at 63 Chatham Street. That's going to be the Hong Kong bar there in Faneuil Hall. Suspect went into the bar. He was already intoxicated. The bartenders refused to serve him, at which point he picked up a bar stool and threw it behind the bar towards the bartenders. The security brought him outside, and then they said that he fell face first on the pavement. So he was bleeding from the face. He was sent to the hospital, but he was also summoned into court for assault with a dangerous weapon for throwing the stool at the bartenders. But that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Questions, anyone? Anyone on Zoom either? Great, thank you. We'll look forward to talking more about what happens during the Sail Boston and all that. And once again, thank you for all that you do for us.
Thanks, guys. And as we have our plans out for it, I'll get it to you as quick as possible.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to hear from Rhonda, I guess, and Este about the new Boston Harbor Distillery. Is that right?
Any question? Thank you.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
If you're there, then let us bring this speaker down. No, you're good, but we'll just want everyone else to be able to hear. So if you're near this, that's great.
I don't have a clicker.
Are you presenting?
I sent it. I can talk. I can show you some pictures.
What is your
It's just some photos mostly of what we do. Hello, everybody. My name is Rhonda Kelman. I am the founder and CCO of Boston Harbor Distillery. I started the business 14 years ago to make whole grain whiskey right here in my beloved city of Boston. I always say it that way because I've been born and raised in this greater Boston area. My sister is Este Silvetsky. She's the president of the company, and she's back again. She's also a lifelong resident around here, but moved out for a little bit. She's back, and we are very delighted to be bringing the Boston Harbor Distillery Beverage Garden at the Greenway here to you guys. What we can promise is some great cocktails that are all handmade, hand-produced in the distillery in Dorchester, which is just 4.8 miles from here, or something like that. South, it's on the southernmost waterfront of Boston Harbor. It has been there since 1859, and the whole port that we're on is called Port Norfolk. It has been the center of entrepreneurial commerce for America since the 1850s. The building that we're in is one of the last remaining mill buildings, beam and brick building. It was built by the Putnam family, you know, the investment guys, that lineage, to make hot forged flat top horseshoe nails. And they supplied both sides of the Civil War with horseshoe nails right out of our building. So it's really remarkable. So my whiskey, our whiskey, is actually named Putnam, and it's named for the General Israel Putnam, the Revolutionary War hero that was born here in Danvers, Mass, and actually died in Putnam County, Connecticut. And if we're not going to do, I can just talk about it, but we are actually opening this month in Bradley International at Hartford, Connecticut. We are opening the Putnam Tavern with a travel concessionaire partner called SSP Travel America. They're international. So that'll be really great for our Putnam brand. And we also have a 2,200 square foot concept with SSP at Logan Airport's brand new international airport. The distillery in Dorchester is actually our home. That's where we produce everything. We have VIP tours, we have a cocktail lounge, we have some live music, and we built it really to be a community gathering place. And all of that is what we hope to do here at the Greenway. And because I tell you all of the different concepts that we have, because we are experienced. We have been catering to the public for over 10 years without any problems. So never had the police or anything like that. You know, we're mature professionals and we like to drink really good things, but we also know that we want to meet our customers where they are. So we have partnered with 2 other local Boston companies, Boston Beer Company, the makers of Sam Adams, of which I am the co-founder of, actually. So I have been doing this for a long time. We started that company with Jim Cook in 1984. And when I told him that we were going on the Greenway, he's like, well, I have to make some beer for you. So we will be serving not Sam Adams because we're a craft distiller. We have a farmer series license. So we can only serve what we make or what is made for us. And so we are going to be serving Port Norfolk Pilsner and Boston Hazy IPA. And in addition to that, the Boston. Oh, what?
I just wanted to make you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's gonna click for me.
I got it.
You can just go back, I think the first slide, oh, that is important. So these are our brands, and they're each named for the entrepreneurs that had commerce in the building that we're in Dorchester. I told you about Putnam. We have Putnam Straight Rye. I actually started the business, I know you're gonna give me the hook, but I started the business to make whole grain whiskey right here in Boston. And I recognized that single malt is the gold standard for whiskey in the world. However, we really weren't making it in any meaningful way here in America. So the first whiskey we ever made, going through our still with the serial number that the federal government gave me, happened to be 1776. And we make Putnam American Single Malt. That's our high end, our black label. This is our rye whiskey. We have a red wine barrel rye. We have cast strength rye, and we have a delicious maple old fashioned in the bottoms. That is perfect. And so when the car came in, they didn't need horseshoe nails. They went out of business. It became the George Lawley Shipyard, and they are famous for building America's Cup winning yachts. One of them graces our label. They also made minesweepers for World War II. So both those early companies had government contracts. Lucky them. Made things a lot easier, but we have these amazing fresh botanical gins, all real fruit. We have a strawberry with whole real strawberries, beautiful pink, and pear. We have a pear gin with whole pears. Dorchester used to be known for their pears, if you can believe it. It was called the clap pear. It's since been eradicated, so that. We also have 100% molasses rums, which is New England style. You ever hear about the molasses flood? Well, that's what we were doing with it all. We were making rum up here. And we have vodka for those people that don't want much flavor, but still good vodka. Sorry. And then when the war, they built minesweepers. When the war ended, they went out of business. The last notable entrepreneur to have commerce was Seymour's Ice Cream Factory. And if anybody's from around here, you might remember them. They like did the Nutty Buddy and Hoodsies. It wasn't Hoodsies, it was something else. But so the inspiration was for our Boston Harbor Maple Cream, which is another market to Bailey's. So much better. It's like melted ice cream. We have ready to drink espresso martini, just shake and drink and enjoy. And coffee liqueur. And then lastly, when they went out of business, it was a little bit of a mafia playground down there in Dorchester. And our you've heard of Whitey Bulger. The folklore is he used to disappear people in our building. So we have Demon Seed Whiskey, which is this fiery scorpion pepper maple ginger whiskey. Everything is all natural. We don't add sugar to anything, and we don't use corn. So next is just a little picture of the distillery, which is gorgeous. This is where we're located. These are friends of mine from Mass Motors that got married there. This is, we give it a tour, and our distillers, this is the little 1776 still. So it's really beautiful. We restored it. My husband was a builder and he did a great job. Next slide is our two concepts I talked about, very different, but they needed to be. This is awesome. And anytime you fly international, you can actually go across the hall at duty free and buy a bottle. And this is opening formally in the next couple of weeks, Putnam Tavern. Next is what we're here for. The Boston Harbor Distillery at the Rose Kennedy Greenway. We are very grateful and very excited to be here. We will be opening in May. That is our plan. These are actually, AI is awesome unless you're a marketing person. But for us, it was very helpful. This is not exactly what they will be, but this is the closest we could get to today. We are working on it. My sister Esty is just killing herself to get this right. She's a stickler, which is good for all of us because we really want to make our neighbors proud. We really do. And so cocktails, beer and wine. The wine is coming from the Boston Winery, our neighbors. And it's good, very good wine. They don't grow the grapes here, obviously, but we will have some options for you, a red, rosé, and a Sauv Blanc. That actually is very good. I don't like it, but it's good. So this is kind of the look we're going for. I hope you like that. And we do want you and your friends and your family and pets, if they're allowed on the Greenway, they're allowed on the Greenway, of course, to come visit with us. We'll have some snacks, upmarket snacks, trying to do business with as many local companies as we possibly can. Next slide is what that looks like. You can kind of see how we're positioning things here. The toilets are, we're gonna have to jam them in there, but we got them. And so it will all be happening very soon in front of your eyes. I think our capacity is going to be 425 people.
And Rhonda, I apologize for interrupting.
Nope.
Just to let people know, as this layout evolves, we'll communicate that so Susanna can.
Absolutely, sure. We're happy to show it off. The next slide will actually, this is our menu, some of the ideas that we serve at the distillery now. 1776 barrel aged old fashioned, that's our maple old fashioned. The Boss Hatton, you guys get it instead of a Manhattan, because we can only serve what we make, we don't make vermouth. So this is our rye whiskey with a little caramelized fig from Library Company in Austin, Texas, with some orange bitters, and it's one of my favorites. So you're gonna love that. Harborside Commons with gin, Greenway Coletta, a Norista. We can't call it a dark and stormy because Doslings has a trademark on that. Boston Tea Party, which probably be Tea Party, Espresso Martini. Next slide is you can see our mocktails. They're good. And half the people will say, "Huh, that Greenway grapefruit Paloma," and you put some gin in it. They're that good, but this is kind of where we're headed. We'll have our flagship pours. We'll have some special upmarket whiskey, one-off kinds of things, called the American 250, the World Cup, the tall ships. Like, we're community, and we might as well capitalize on what's coming down, in 2026. We're very excited. And then lastly, here we are. This is the group. I want to introduce Sam Silvetsky. He's Director of Operation. And big guy with the green ball cap is Brandon Keating. He's the MVP. He ran Trillium for 8 years up there. So the man knows what to do and how to get it done. And luckily, I know a lot of people. So between all of us, we're doing pretty well getting it going. And Jeffrey's not here tonight because we have another neighborhood meeting tonight in Dorchester. So that's why we're up first. But he's amazing. We're going to be working closely with Eileen and Olivia and Martha, marketing the Greenway in a very nice upmarket way. Does anybody have any questions?
I'd like to say one thing, Rhonda, and I think we're all very excited and we wish you great success and look forward to sharing with this wonderful tasting stuff that you're offering us. As a reminder to the folks from the Greenway, they know this well. there is a season where you may not be operating, i.e. winter time? Is that the case?
Likely, though we have watched what's going on in the seaport and
Okay, well, so if, like William, you shut down during certain months or whenever you shut down, the folks who were there before, it looked terrible. It looked absolutely a mess, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're so enthusiastic about having you new folk on there, so that you recognize the fact that when you're not there, we still are.
understood. And respect that 100%, because it's also our name as well. We're all in this together. And we'll do you proud.
Great.
That's our job.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great.
Well.
Yes, there's a question back there. Yeah.
Hi, as it's for you guys have, you guys have. Is there going to be a different kind of safety protocol to make sure it's hard liquor beer available? Are you going to be able to stop people from getting more? Are you going to be watching for people that are ingesting hard liquor? I'm just wondering how. I live across the street. I don't really want people fooling around my lawn, have drones, whatever. So I'm just wondering what's going on.
Repeat the question for.
Yeah, so the question is, are we gonna have some safety protocols in place so that we avoid people getting drunk? I think that's what you said. And the answer is absolutely, because our licenses are on the line. The bartenders' licenses, they'll all be tips trained, and we don't want, it's not about getting drunk. It's really about enjoying good life. And there's a difference to that.
Will you
Today,
continue
people
to
are out
have
getting drunk.
will you continue to have the area roped off, or is that
Yeah,
like it was before?
yes,
Yeah, I thought so. Okay,
we're gonna
great.
likely have barrels and marine rope, so it'll look very nice and a little nautical and some fun.
And we will have people at the entrance, exit, and hopefully an extra staff member just kind of rolling around and kind of keeping their eyes on each other.
We'll be there a lot too.
Excellent.
And at the distillery, we've really never had shit. Very respectful.
We'll
Yes,
we'll be sure about
I
that.
think truly locked up with the dog policy, are you gonna allow dogs inside them, down, laying down, or just outside?
I believe inside, we have a favorable dog policy at the distillery. They just can't go in the production room, but we do allow dogs. We realize that dogs are part of the community too, as long as they behave. I always say, don't let them on the furniture, and clean up after themselves.
And we get happy to communicate the final decision on that. Greenway is interesting because even though it's legislatively established and it's state property, we also have to interact with some city permitting. And the city outdoor areas, as far as dogs, has they've had a different policy. So when the final decision, not just for many years before, it's set out. Let me know how about that.
Absolutely. I mean, we may be entrepreneurs, but we're rule followers. So there's a little bit of, but we do follow the rules, and we want to hear what you guys have to say. So look forward to raising a glass with you out there. Maybe we'll have an opening soiree for the neighborhood, and thank you for
Go to Google Doc.
being present.
Thank you.
Right.
I don't know slides and I need to be able to read.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rhonda, and good luck to you all, Boston Distillery. It's going to be great. Our next speaker is Cheryl Del Greco, who is the president of NURA, which is the North End Waterfront Neighborhood, our great collaborator in all things neighborhood and climate. So, Cheryl.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here and see all of you tonight. I'm some of you I don't, but I've understand a lot of the climate lines we have in the North End. The Wharf District has their grants as well, and I'll talk about that in a second. So you all know the North End, you're supposed to go live here, be down to the North End, it's a historic area. We have the same kind of problems you have. We have rats, we have trash, but the city has a whole new group, and it's called the Boston Rodent Action Plan. There's a young man named Luke Hines who came to NURA last month and was terrific. has been incredibly responsive, did a walkthrough, with a group of neighbors who were really concerned about different areas in the north end where trash really accumulates. We have a lot of restaurants in a very small area and a lot of people, residents as well. So, he's been incredibly helpful, his whole team. It's been a tough winter, I think, for everybody. A lot of snow, really hard to remove the snow. We don't have big expansive streets. It's having commercial, so you've got all the little tiny streets, and I'm getting like texts from restaurateurs and different people saying my street's not plowed. I'm like, Maria, I think you're on here. Oh, Maria, I can't do anything for you about your streets. But it's been tough. It's been tough for everybody, for the city and the workers as well. They, listen, they went above and beyond. We have a lot of streets and sidewalks that, need some repair. I think that's a problem within the whole city. But when you have thousands and thousands of tourists coming through to do the Freedom Trail and go to Paul Revere's house and the Old North, it's tough. So, we're working with the city and, getting somewhere with that. I mean, I know that there's a plan to do a lot of work on a lot of the streets and the sidewalks, and a lot of them have been done, which has been terrific. We got a couple of things coming up in the north end. The library is going to be renovated. There's a group that formed. The north end is very good at forming groups. Little groups of residents, and they are pushing to get funding, which is in dire need of it, which is terrific. So they're talking and can keep you updated on that. There's going to be a North End Historical Museum that is going to open up in June. Tommy DeMalia has been spearheading it. This big fundraiser next Monday night at Umbria. Frank DiPasquale has been a huge supporter of the North End Historical Museum, as well as many other things in the North End. Very generous, and he's having a fundraiser Monday night with Tommy, and you guys can come. They hired someone to do interactive exhibits. It's right off North Square. If you're walking up towards R2, it's on the right-hand side before you get to Hanover Street. So we're really excited about that, and it should be open in time for the 250th. Another thing that Frank is doing, Frank DiPasquale, I don't know if you're aware, but this lot had to leave. On Cross Street, remember the Martinetti's building?
Yeah.
That is now going to be a building that Frank is actually working on. It's being built now. It's going to have restaurants and cafes and retail and a cooking school. So it's just going to be such a nice gateway. I mean, you have a big expansive area here. We've just a tiny little area with, Cross Street, and we're right by the entrance to the highway to 93. This is going to make a huge difference, I think. It's going to be a lot of glass and tables. It's going to look great. Frank's a good friend to the North End. What else can I tell you? Tall ship. So I've actually been working with the police because in 2017 they closed down all the wharfs, and it was package review and police were there. So I know that they're going to close Atlantic Commercial where we are, and I'm assuming down here too. Maybe not sure thoroughfare, we're just an offshoot for the day, probably. They're not sure exactly what time, but it's going to be closed. And then there's going to be a parade on Monday from Seaport to Christopher Columbus Park. So get ready. More traffic, more people. I don't know if this has affected you or not. We have a lot of restaurants, probably close to 100 restaurants in the North End, but the state passed a law that allows cities and towns to alter their liquor licenses. So many of the restaurants in the North End have a beer and wine and cordial license. So now they can turn that in, get a full liquor license. They can't sell it and it doesn't travel, but a lot of the restaurants are doing that. And it'll be a big help to some of the smaller reps, just because if you're on taking clients to dinner, not everybody drinks beer and wine. So it'll be good. So they come before us, and everybody pretty much approves it. Some people don't. It's tough. I mean, it's a very congested neighborhood. It's a lot of noise in the summer. We have the feasts. Now we're gonna have the tall ships. It's a lot. But it's all good fun, and I encourage you to come down there. I haven't heard anything lately on State Street. I worked with Suzanne and Mark on State Street and the reconfiguration, and they're gonna at least pave it or something. But we're available to talk about that.
Can I just add, sure, please? I actually heard something this afternoon.
Oh, yay.
They're in the process of working on it, and they will have something in the coming weeks but they're not prepared.
I've heard rumors, but yeah, nothing to share, but they're gonna, I think they want to clean.
Right,
So
so
and tall ships, which would be great because the
they,
street is.
they did say they thought we'd be pleased, but I don't know what that makes.
I heard the same thing. I didn't want to, I don't like to do rumors, but I heard the same thing. They'll say, you'll be pleased, so. Cause it, yeah, well, it backs up into.
We've only been doing this for 6 years.
Before COVID. We did a lot of Zoom calls. Zoom was new. The Paul River House and the Old North Church, they both have things happening. The Old North Church, is going to do a crafts, agreement. They're gonna do silversmithing and printing. And then they're gonna do an event on Castle Island that they're still working out. Evidently Paul Revere was stationed out there, who knew? But they're gonna do something this summer on Castle Island, about Paul Revere. And Old North is building a lot of, putting in a lot of accessible ramps to get in and out of the building and also down into the crypts, which is actually really cool. That's below ground. So it's a really tight little neighborhood. And one thing that Nura, I think some of you have been to Nura. It's a pretty vocal neighborhood. Thank you. So a lot of people felt as though tourists came in, and they parked, and they didn't care if they got a ticket because it was cheaper than going in the garage. That's going to be changed. So they're raising the parking fees. They might have already done it. I'm not even sure. But I know it was going through city council. They'll probably go to the mayor. But it is a problem parking for people because, you know, people live there. They need to be able to drop off their kids, their elderly, their groceries, you know, kids play sports. I mean, it's important that people have some access. That's pretty much what's going on in the North End. So I could talk a little bit about the Climate Alliance. So Mark and Suzanne have been heavily involved in that, and I have to thank you both because, you know, you guys have helped me a lot. I got a grant from Aaron Markowitz, who entrusted us with these funds, and we hired Air, the same firm that you hired, and we just used them, and Derek Anderson has been incredible. And came up with a plan, which I didn't do tonight on slides, but you can go to the nura.org website and click on Climate Alliance and you can download it. It's the first plan that we have, and it's from commercial wharf to battery wharf. And there's breakwaters, there's a little bit of fill, there's some storage tanks, there's some raised harbor walks, there's raised seawalls. It's been quite a journey and quite an experience, working with Wharf District and Arab and the city. The city really has a dedicated group of people that are really pushing hard for this neighborhood. Well, 47 miles of shoreline in the city of Boston, but we're the only ones with plans, right? I don't think anyone else has a plan like we do. We're ready to go. And now the challenge is to get Congress to agree to the shoreline solution, not the inline solution, which is where they would be building a wall to keep the water on the other side of the Atlantic off the Mitchell Street, basically onto all of our property. So we are working with the city really hard on that, and we're working together, and we're getting there slowly but surely.
Cheryl, I will add some information that I just received, which is that the Wharf District Council Resiliency Plan has been chosen as one of this year's top 5 winners of the American Council of Engineering Companies, Massachusetts. Yeah, thanks. April 14th. So we are recognized not only within the community of neighbors and businesses in the area, but also as an example of engineering excellence that we've been telling people about.
2 years ahead of mine. So when you go to look at our.
And yours are way ahead of other people's.
We didn't have as much grant money, so when Eric did the plan, it was from last fall, like November, December. They grabbed pictures of this is what it would look like. So we used some of your pictures, and they did a great job. And we've had a lot of meetings in our neighborhood, and people are pretty pleased. But the hard work starts now: is getting the funding, getting the easements, and convincing people that we need your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Questions? Questions for Cheryl?
Come to the North End.
Yeah,
We do.
we do. Thank you. And we will, we have meetings coming up
Yes, we do.
together with the Army Corps. Army Corps has 5 project areas for this this effort that they have underway, and our project is lumped as in with the North End as one of those five. So we are
Yeah.
tethered at the hip
Yeah.
for this project.
For your
And
kids.
yeah, it's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
More to talk about relative to climate resilience, right? Joe Christo's got from at the Stone Living Lab is going to let's see, which one is yours? Is it not that one? Nope. Let me get to yours. There we go.
That's
There
it.
you go. Sorry. Um, Getting there.
Great.
Let's see, which one of these I just downloaded it.
Can't quite see it. Right.
Yeah, I can't either.
If you click on the PowerPoint link on the bottom bar,
Yeah, I think I just-
it should be one to the right.
that
Yeah, there you go.
that one. Okay, there we go. Okay. Boom, boom, and we're gonna share this one.
Yep. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Hey, everyone. Good to see you all. Can folks see that online? We good? Cool. I'm Joe Christo, I'm the Chief Resilience Officer at the Stone Living Lab in Boston Harbor now, joined here by Kathy Abbott, President and CEO of Boston Harbor now. I want to give a quick update and overview of some of the work that's going on at Stone Living Lab related to climate resilience, especially nature-based approaches for climate resilience. So thank you, Suzanne and Mark, for inviting me here to present tonight. Everybody's staying on time so far, so I'll try to,
Good.
yeah, so try to do the same. So I've got a couple slides, but we should get through 8 or 9 minutes here. Stone Living Lab is a very unique research partnership focused on nature-based approaches for climate adaptation. So that means how are we doing a little more green to adapt to climate change, especially sea level rise, and a little less gray. Nothing wrong with the gray, right? Vertical seawalls are important in some places, but wherever possible, we want to try to make sure that we're making best opportunities to be able to utilize what Mother Nature is doing naturally, sort of replicating that. So the partnership is led by UMass Boston School for the Environment and Boston Harbor Now are the two lead partners. But we also have 4 other signatories to our MOU. That includes the National Park Service, the State Department of Conservation and Recreation, the state's Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and the City of Boston. We also work in close collaboration with an indigenous tribe, the Massachusetts tribe of Ponkapog. So all of us are kind of rowing in the same direction to study nature-based approaches for climate adaptation. This is our team. We're a small but mighty team. We've doubled in size in the past year, however, and all of our staff members are either housed at Boston Harbor Now, such as myself, or at UMass Boston, such as my colleague, our director, Katie Dafford, and Katie Zapata, Lisa, and Allison and Darcy. So those team members are over at UMass Boston. The rest of us are at Boston Harbor Now. Next slide, please. We can, next slide. So this is just an image that kind of outlines that partnership structure that I just mentioned. We're primarily philanthropically funded. About 85 or 90% of our funding comes through philanthropy in any given year, but we do have some state grants as well that are very helpful to support our work. Slide, please. There. Yep, I kind of talked about the mission and the vision, but sort of the overall goal, as I mentioned, is to help municipalities better understand the benefits of nature-based approaches for climate adaptation. Not only how they can sometimes be a better solution to help communities, with sea level rise, but also they have all these other co-benefits, right? In addition to protecting better than a seawall sometimes, they also help provide better quality of life. They enhance biodiversity. They help mitigate stormwater. They help, mitigate heat island effects. The vertical seawall doesn't do any of those things. Next slide. So we're approaching this work through 4 different program areas: a research and monitoring program that is really sort of the core of our work, education and engagement program, which I'll get into a little bit as well, policy innovation. That work is really, much of the work is led out of Boston Harbor now, but the policy innovation piece especially, and then climate preparedness. And that's really about social resilience. How are we bringing people together to collaboratively learn and build community? For instance, we do that through a monthly seminar series that we hold. That will be this Thursday at 2 o'clock, by the way, on our website calendar. You can find that. We hold a conference every 2 years, and we hold a series of field courses as well. Next slide, please. Next. So research and monitoring. Here's just a couple of highlights of some of the work we're doing. The picture on the left, you see us deploying a wave buoy in Boston Harbor. As part of our real-time monitoring in Boston Harbor project. So we currently have 14 different instruments in the harbor and along its shores, including 2 of those wave buoys, a meteorological station, a tide gauge, and a couple of overland flood sensors, some of which you can see in your neighborhood. Right at the end of Long Wharf, there's one on a pole that is measuring overland flooding 24 hours a day. It's called a Paone flood sensor. We just got a grant to deploy 12 more instruments, so we're deploying 10 more of those Paone flood sensors, as well as 2 more wave buoys, all of those outside of Boston. So really spanning the coast of eastern Massachusetts from Newburyport down to Fall River. A couple other highlights here. You see some of our salt marsh work. That's the third picture over there. That's a quadrant, really measuring the health of a salt marsh. We're doing some of that at Condor Street Urban Wild out in East Boston. And that 4th picture, you see our Living Seawalls project, also at Condor Street Urban Wild in East Boston. And another one is at Fan Pier in the Seaport, really helping to bring biodiversity to hardened edges that really aren't very good home for marine life. Next slide, please. Here's another picture of our Living Seawalls installation in East Boston. The one in the Seaport that's a little closer here and walkable. If you're at Davio's, there's that little inlet where there's kind of the waterfall. Right there, you can check it out, and there's all sorts of seaweed and snails and mussels and all sorts of wonderful stuff growing there. That used to be, that area was a mudflat. That was a salt marsh, right? So we're kind of trying to bring some of that habitat back to what has become a hardened edge. Next slide. Here's a picture of one of our PhD students, Daniel, out there at the site in the Seaport, right near Davio's, as I mentioned. And you can see all the growth going on there, all sorts of great seaweed going on. Next slide. And here's the picture of the flood sensor out at the end of Long Wharf. This one has since been relocated because, as you all know, they were doing that repair work at the end. That pole was in that area, so it's closer to some of the ferry terminals now. But it'll be back at this site once that work is complete. Next slide. Just another picture of a wave buoy. Next slide, please. And a dashboard. This dashboard is currently down for maintenance, but we're relaunching soon to really bring all of the data that our instruments are gathering to the community. So all of our data is open access, free access, and being shared through this portal. So on the education front, just a couple of highlights here. On the left, we have our fantastic summer fellow Daria at one of our climate cart events. We take this climate cart all around the city and throughout really the region. To really help bring climate education to residents. The second picture there, you see one of our field courses that's at the Duxbury Beach Reservation. Our good colleague and engineering director, Kirk Bosma, helping share with municipal leaders about our cobble berms projects down there. The third picture, you see some students from East Boston High down at the seawall, the Living Seawalls installation at Condor Street Urban Wild. And the fourth, you see our climate cart again aboard Boston Harbor City Cruises boat throughout the summer. Slide. One of our hallmarks of our public programming is our King Tides events. We hold these during the astronomical perigene tide to bring awareness to residents about the flooding that is currently happening along Boston shores and what is going to continue to happen more and more in the future, and why it is so important to do work like the great work that Wharf District Council and NURA are doing, and that the city is doing as well to really adapt our coastline to a different type of living. Next slide. More youth programming is really an essential part of what we do, and we're trying to spend more and more time focusing on that as well. This is, I think, a picture from out on Kathleen Stone Island, where we had some students out there last summer. Slide. And on professional development, so we run an annual summer teacher institute, bring together 15 teachers from throughout Greater Boston, public school teachers, to collaboratively learn for a week, get 3 graduate credits, and develop a climate curriculum to be implemented in their classrooms in the fall. As a result of doing this for 4 years and training 50 teachers over those 4 years, we've connected with over 8,000 students throughout Greater Boston with an enhanced climate curriculum. So that's a picture from last year. This year, applications for the Teacher Institute close March 20th. So if you know any teachers that may be interested, send them to our website in the news section. There's a link to the application. Closes March 20th. Looking forward to that again this year. Just a couple slides left. Next slide, please. All sorts of resources. Everything we produce through our education engagement program, led by my fantastic colleague, Rebecca Shore, also a Boston Harbor Now employee. All of it is available for free on our website to be able to share with different teachers and other community groups. Next slide, please. And just a couple of last closing things. I mentioned the policy innovation and climate preparedness. We work closely with the state to try to create better pathways for nature-based solutions to be implemented. Right now, there are some regulations that kind of prove to be some roadblocks and barriers sometimes, as Mark knows. And so we're working closely with our good colleagues at the state who are, I think, working very hard to help really modernize those and innovate on that front. This is a picture, just on that last slide real quick, that was a picture of one of our close colleagues who sadly passed away last year, Kang Junyu, a world-renowned landscape architect from China who was visiting the site and really gave us some great ideas around innovation and policy solutions. And you see here at our 2025 conference, we were able to host Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll as one of our keynote speakers as well. Next slide. And this is the last slide we got. This is just a picture of our community at the Living Seawalls launch at Conner Street Urban Wild in East Boston. So thrilled to be able to keep building this community together and try to focus on how we bring nature-based solutions more and more to Boston shoreline and Caribbean region. Thank you.
Well done.
Joe. Great. Wonderful, wonderful work. And thank you for everything that you do and for your support of the work that we're doing too. Because a lot of the stuff that Stone Living Labs is focused on is not specific to the situations like we have, right, in the center of an urban area, but it's all part of the learning process and how to make a better environment and a better seascape. So
appreciate that.
Thank
You
you.
guys are doing great work. Keep it up.
I'd love to come and show you, if I can get my engineer, Derek Anderson, and come and show you and what we're doing in the North End. I mean, it's better than just down the way. So
We would love that.
I would love that,
And
yeah.
Derek-
yeah, oh, Derek's right. Yeah, I'd love to do that. See it, get some.
What things on this? Appropriate is one of the things that we're. Sorry. Right. Yeah. And commission, short-term, 18-month, look specifically at doing more creative work in improvement.
great.
Because the work that has been happening really well at the state level is primarily focused in. It's much easier to do.
Where we need to pass some of this along to the Army Corps too.
And we've been very involved with them as well.
Yeah. Let's hope that they can find a way to incorporate some of that into what they're doing. Great, thank you. Thank you both very much.
Thank
Jenny Harding, sometime between now and Monday, would you like to tell us a little bit about what's going?
Hey.
Yes. Let's see, which one? Yes, which one is yours? Oops, I had it there for a second. Let's see, which one of these is you?
That one.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
So hi, everyone, and thank you to the council for letting me present tonight slightly last minute. But I'm Jenny Harding, I'm the general manager at Faneuil Home Marketplace. I am due on next Monday, so wanted to squeeze this in before I leave and get you some updates ahead of spring, summer at the marketplace, which we are planning to be very busy for, which I will be missing. But here to give you some updates on, what the new landlord has been up to, what you can hopefully expect this season. There's been a lot in the works, and I know that people will be excited about what's been going on, but also just to set the stage a little bit, we just celebrated 2 years with the new landlord who took over from Ashkenazi. They took over in February 2024. And as the staff on the ground has been concerned, we're really excited about the direction that they're moving in. They're working really closely with the city of Boston on reimagining the marketplace, what the next chapter looks like. So some of this work will showcase those efforts and give you a preview of what's to come. Yeah, so this is one of our new public art installations that you may have seen. These went up in January. They're called the Wild Benches of Hope. We have 3 of these beautiful statues scattered about the marketplace. They will be on display for a year. They're from Australian-based artist Gillian Mark. And you may also have seen their sister statue in Charlestown. So we're really excited about those. The public art is really important to the new landlord. So this and the next slide. Yeah, the Ways of My Ancestors. We partnered with the city of Boston on this installation, which is still up on display at both entrances of the Quincy Market building. So these are a series of photographs from local photographer Scott Foster, which will remain up through the spring as well. The Malibu Barbie Cafe, I don't know if you have seen in the news yet, but it's not a new restaurant that's coming. They will be taking over the Sugar Factory restaurant from about mid-April to mid-July. So we're excited about that. We think that it will be a good draw for families, lots of kids. This is the only one that's coming to, I believe, the region. They've done this in Las Vegas and internationally. So it's a big deal. It is a partnership with Mattel, the brand. So it will be very well publicized. So if you like Barbie, check that out. We wanted to preview you on plans for a beer garden, which is scheduled for just the Cheers, that red space at the bottom, which is where the old Cheers restaurant was, which is where we have hosted beer gardens the last couple of years. So we cannot share yet who the operator is going to be, but wanted to preview you that they will be coming after I am gone to formally request support when they are ready to announce who that is. We're just still working through some of those details, but just so you're aware, we're planning on that being a beer garden again this year. For reference as well, the other 3 corners where there are restaurant spaces, we are actively looking to lease to local restaurants. We have a great local leasing broker in Graffito who's leading all of those efforts for us, working really hard to bring in top-notch local brands that the community and the neighborhood will be excited about. So some good conversations happening there, but those spaces right now are not activated. We're also working with FIFA this summer on a series of activations, hoping to lock in exactly what that looks like. I'm sure, as many of us probably know, FIFA has been somewhat difficult to lock down with planning for the summer, but we have plans with them to take a very large space at the marketplace. So hoping that that will get announced officially soon.
What is?
Oh, for the World Cup.
Oh, I'm
Soccer.
Yes, and we are the home to the only ticker clock in Boston, so quite an honor for us. I also wanted to preview you on some ongoing efforts that the landlord will be undertaking this spring and summer, which includes some much needed outdoor repair and maintenance. So we will be resetting and leveling the granite pavers and cobblestones starting this spring. So we actually just had a walkthrough yesterday with Elkis Manfredi, our local architect. Reed Hildebrand has been engaged as the local landscape architect. So we're in the process right now of choosing a general contractor who will lead the entire project. But there will be a significant amount of masonry done this season. So trying to get as much done ahead of the busy summer season as possible. That project will also include indoor and outdoor painting, so refreshing the interior of Quincy Market as well as the exterior doors, window frames, the steel beams. So this was all part of a package that has been approved by the Landmark Commission since we're a historic landmark. So that's all been reviewed, approved, and is in motion, which is very exciting because I think, as we all know, it's much needed. Plans also include exterior cleaning of the facades of the building, so deep cleaning the granite, really livening things up for the season. As I mentioned, leasing plans. So Graffito is working not just on those restaurant spaces, but on some of our vacant retail, and turning over some of the Quincy Market food stalls. So we should see at least 5 new food stalls by the summer. And hopefully an announcement will be made about just who those brands are soon. But they are all local, they are all beloved, and our goal moving forward is that Quincy Market showcases the very best of what Boston has in the food scene. It's taken some time, but we're getting there. We're really excited about who these tenants will be. We're also continuing with our pop-up series that we started last year with food trucks, retail pop-up shops. Jessie Haggard from our team is here tonight. If you want to wave, she's going to be leading that for us, so that we can have opportunities for short-term as well. So businesses that are interested in just a day or a weekend, so that we can support them in that. And Quincy Market will be turning 200 in August. So there will be big celebrations in August. It coincides with the 250th. We're going to get a little overshadowed, but we plan to commemorate that in a special way. And happy to take questions that I may or may not be able to answer as it pertains to the future of the marketplace, but especially as we head into spring, summer. Any questions or concerns?
Okay. Updates on the specifics as you get some new folks, and of course Suzanne will share that with all of us. And everybody knows, I hope, that we have a special focus that Karen Brand has been working on. Karen, as a part of our Wharf District Council efforts to promote the vitality of Boston's historic Wharf District, engaging restaurants and retailers, and giving them the benefits of being involved with us and sharing information with all of us, because when we have someplace we want to go to dinner or folks that we want to drag around town, we want to know where to go. And Faneuil Hall is obviously one of those. So appreciate that work, and you need, whoever, you two should probably be in touch, right? Great. Any other questions?
Good luck.
Thank you.
Kevin Butler? Is Kevin here? Kevin?
I'm on, where do you want us? Down there?
But it's good, come closer to the microphone, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have any slides, is that correct? Great. Won't you step there?
Well, it's
Yeah.
very good at being clumsy. Thank you. My name is Paone. I'm technically here tonight. He working stuck somewhere else due to the lovely travel shenanigans that are going on with the different airports. So he stuck with me. My name is Tom Miller from McDermott, Cliffy, Miller and Hanley. I'm here on behalf of 125 Broad Street LLC, doing business 125. I'm joined by Nando.
Nando Sicilio,
Yeah. So
Mass Advisors.
he is consulting on the project for the restaurant design build out. He works with the ownership team on development projects as well. And we're going to give you a brief presentation, about what is being proposed, and then we're happy to answer any questions. Just to locate everybody, this is the corner of the Broad Street and the Greenway in what I like to call the new building because around for long enough that it's that newer residential building with the commercial space on the ground floor.
Are you, excuse me, are you talking about Boulevard building?
Boulevard.
What's the address?
120, it's 125. It's right on the corner.
Yes.
Yeah, the ground floor.
Okay.
But yes, it's the
Okay.
building on the.
It's not Boulevard?
I think their buildings are connected. Or across this Broad Street from Panera. It's right on the corner.
To the left. Yeah.
So the owners of the restaurant LLC are also the owners of the building. They also have residences in the building. So this is something they're connected to. This isn't a absentee or a distant group that will be just kind of operating from afar. This is something they care about and they want to build up as an amenity for both the residents of the area and those people like me who work downtown and commute home. It's a place to meet before heading out or a place to enjoy a meal. The concept here is a blend of American and Italian dishes, a mix of small plates, cicchetti, and larger plates, both for individuals sharing and entrees.
Is that the space we're talking about?
It's not the space, but it's over here. Yeah, there. So
Oh, it's there.
no, apologies, I was misspeaking.
It's not 125.
Yeah.
This is-
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was misspeaking about the new building. That's mine.
Okay.
It used to be a hair salon?
It appears that it was, yes.
There was in the basement.
Yes.
So for those people on Zoom, that's the building we're talking about. Okay.
Can we stay on this? If they don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
So part of this is for a full service bar with a curated wine selection, classic cocktails and draft beer. The restaurant will be on the ground floor and in the basement area. The build out is going to be kind of a restaurant on that ground floor area, and the basement will kind of have a speakeasy, loungy vibe. And the idea is to build out a warm and inviting space, thoughtfully designed with high-end interiors and an upscale aesthetic. It's a classy neighborhood restaurant. It's kind of the feel. As I said, the market here is for the people who live in the area and the people who work in the area to come and enjoy a good quality meal, enjoy the space. The proposed hours of operation are 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. 7 days. The kitchen is going to be open that full time. Food will be available from open to close. We're proposing entertainment. It's non-live background music, TVs, and a DJ that the focus of the DJ is just to allow them to control the music on a song by song basis it's at or just slightly above background music level. You can't, once you start trying to control things song by song, it then turns into a DJ, whether you're using a playlist or a set of tables. That DJ will also add to the visual effects because it kind of creates a different feel for people, a warmer, more inviting feel when people see somebody in there actually making a song by song choice. There's no dance floor proposed, there's no live entertainment, no promoters. It's just allowing the ownership team and the operations team to kind of create and curate the vibe, the feeling of the space, the aesthetics of the space as they go throughout the night, up and down as the feel requires.
How many square feet is it?
You literally hit my next talking point. It's approximately 6,000 square feet up and down, a little less. On the
Each
two
or
floors.
three?
No, combined. So it's about 50-50. The area is still being cleaned out a little bit. So they're still trying to, it's not an exact number, but we're working on that. The overall proposed seating at this point is approximately 250, again, a little bit up and down. A little less. Maybe a little less. But that's, as the reason, part of the reason we don't have slides is the floor plan is still in flux. So exactly how the kitchen is going to be placed, how seating is going to be placed, is still being worked out. It's going to be a mix of tables, booths, and bar seating. The proposal here tonight and why we're here is we're transferring a wine and malt beverage license, and then as Cheryl said, we're applying to upgrade it to an all alcohol beverage license. That will be restricted. They won't be able to transfer it and sell it to somebody else at the all alcohol level. They'd have to downgrade it and then transfer it to somebody else at that. So we have also reached out to, we have a butters meeting. Just last point, then I'll let you talk at me on it. We have a butters meeting scheduled for April 15th, and we have also reached out to the electeds as well. So this isn't the end. This is only the beginning of our process. We look forward to continuing to engage with the community as we go through.
So I know we're really short on time this evening, and I know a lot of people are interested in this. So I'd like to suggest that we ask, sorry.
My name's Tom.
Tom,
Yep.
For what additional information we would like. So for example, we want to know how deliveries are going to work, right?
Yep.
We want to know, we want to see the floor plans and understand how much of it is kitchen and how much of it is bar, and more about how sound levels are going to be monitored and reported and controlled. Those are just three that jump out at me. Security, how security is going to be handled. What other questions do we want to have answered before we have a chance to really more fully discuss this?
My question is, bar upstairs and downstairs, or one bar serving both levels?
Upstairs and downstairs.
Dance floor?
No,
You can tell how we feel about that.
no, it's a long, narrow space.
Yeah.
I have been getting phone calls about concerned people in the neighborhood with respect to noise.
Mhm.
That area a few years ago
Mhm.
was a troubled area
Mhm.
with restaurants that turned into nightclubs.
Yep.
And I think it would be hard for us to make any decision without having more information, including the floor plan.
Absolutely.
And more time.
Yeah, no,
More
that's,
time.
we understand. It's why we're here early. So
Great.
we can have this discussion, understand what you want, give you the feedback, give you the information you need, and incorporate that feedback as part of this
Great.
process.
So I don't think we're going to be voting on this evening because we'd like to more information. Anybody who is interested in asking for more information for their future presentation, please make sure you let Suzanne know. We want to make sure that you are in a position to be able to answer all the questions or concerns.
Of course, no, you guys, you have all our contact information. You know how to find us.
Great.
Like I said, we're here early because we want to hear your feedback. Address the concerns, and just to be clear, this is not in any way, shape, or form proposed or conceptualized as a nightclub. The idea here is to create a place that the residents and the people who work in there will come enjoy and then go home.
I think you're gonna have to explain to some of us what the difference is between a nightclub and a speakeasy, but you can do that at the next.
It's a bar, not a nightclub.
Yeah, speakeasy is just the kind of feeling, the close, intimate feel. Nightclub
You have
is
to wear a
dark.
special kind of hat.
We'll get you suspenders and
There we go.
armors.
Great.
Well, 6 to 12 months holidays.
We'll look forward to seeing you at a future meeting. Thank you very much.
Very much look forward.
Thank you.
Dylan, no, or Michael, somebody who's gonna be presenting 400 Atlantic Ave.
That'd be Mike Sweeney.
Okay, Mike, let's see, you probably want to share, do you?
I do, yeah.
Let's see, can you?
I believe I can. Let me find the button down here. I think I found it. Oh, it needs sharing. You need to give me permission.
Okay, and you know, as I said to you earlier, Michael, some of us have seen your presentation and you're gonna.
I'm gonna abbreviate it.
Exactly.
We'll keep it short.
Yeah, and if you can speak up, that would be great. Go ahead and share.
Certainly. Bear with me one moment. Here we go. Can everybody see?
Coming. There you go.
Oh, fantastic. Yep. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. And if I may take a moment, I was very impressed by Stone Living's presentation, living in Richmond, Virginia, with a 30-foot flood wall. It's good to know that people are being creative on how to handle such events. So my name is Mike Sweeney. I represent JHJ Investment Group. We're a family office out of Luxembourg. And we are looking to convert 400 Atlantic Avenue into a 113-room boutique hotel. The building was built in 1892, and it was actually 3 buildings that came together. We specialize in taking historical buildings and turning them into high-end boutique hotels, much like what we did at the Palazzo Ludovic and in Lisbon. And bear with me one second, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Let me try to get this to move forward. Here we go. Real quick, I won't bore you with the team, but my name is Mike Sweeney. I am the architect, and I'm also in charge of development for JHJ. And you probably recognize many of these names here. They've been great asset to the project. So like I was saying, we our first endeavor into hotels as the family has been the Palazzo Ludovic in Lisbon. It's a 61-room, 5-star boutique hotel. Took a 300-year-old palace and converted it into an absolute beautiful space written up by Condé Nast and so forth. It was the former resident of the royal architect who did Mafra in Lisbon, if anyone's been. And each individual room was designed to maintain the historical nature of the building. Here it is, as you can see. If anybody remembers the tragic event of the funicular that happened this past year, the hotel sits directly in front of that funicular. Here's an example of how we preserved all the tile in the building and removed it, cleaned it, and replaced it. Quite a bit of work and exercise went into this. We're also the major financier and co-developer for the Unframed in Miami Beach. This was designed by Richard Ricciotti out of France. He did Le Musim and Marseille. And again, a very elegant hotel. And this is kind of the quality that we'll be looking at bringing to Boston. It will not be of this style. To give you an example of the extent that we will go, this particular desk was made by an artisan in the Netherlands and transported over to the US specifically for this hotel. So the site, so we sit at 400 Atlantic Avenue. As I was saying, our lot's 23,000 square feet roughly. It's a 6-story building. It was originally 5 stories back in 1984. They added the 6th story to it. We are not planning on adding any additional square footage to the building. In fact, we'll be tearing off the slanted 6th floor storefront and pulling the profile of the building back and creating terraces up there. So when you're down the street, you will see the original cornice, and the goal is to kind of get rid of the perception of that 6th floor from the sidewalk. Total square footage of the building is 99,000 square feet. We currently have 4 on-site parking spaces, and we're removing them. We plan on having 113 rooms, as I said previously, and a 7,000 square foot restaurant and bar. So we'll be activating the northwest and the northeast corner of the building and opening up the waterfront. Here's the existing building, and this is the storefront that I was speaking of that we plan on removing. These are the proposed elevations where we plan on, again, pulling this wall back and creating terraces up there above, where we'll, of course, we'll be able to provide more greenery to the site. And we do plan on opening the back of the building up. And right now there's currently a lot of very rectangular windows in there, and we're looking to change these to large 14-foot archways across the back end. So to both improve the indoor-outdoor relationship of the hotel and to really kind of make this back deck feel like it's public again. This will be for outdoor dining. It is not gated or separated. There is a new ADA ramp that we're proposing off the Harbor Walk, which is on our property, and we maintain through a permanent easement. This building has an unusual feature. We're one of the only buildings in the Commonwealth that were exempt through an act of legislature on Chapter 91. So we're not actually required to open up the first floor to the public, but being a hotel, it is our goal to do so. And we believe that this will be a fantastic amenity on the Boston waterfront. Just to break it down for you, you can see we're right now this whole right on Atlantic Avenue, right across from the Rose Kennedy Greenway. Right now, this is a painted storefront. It used to be the law firm that was in there used to have this as a filing room, believe it or not. And so you would walk the entire length of this building without ever seeing into it. Well, we're going to take all that down. We're going to replace this with new steel windows that would reflect what you would normally see at the turn of the century. And we will open up this whole corner as a public F&B establishment, and the whole back corner as a restaurant. There will be a pool on the inside that will be for guests, that will not be public. In the south east corner. It's a typical floor plan, around 113 rooms. The average square footage range between, ultimately, it's going to be a little over 400 square feet. We're getting rid of the 360 rooms to over 1,000 square feet for the suites. This just really shows that we're going to, on the 6th floor, how we're going to pull the wall back and create these terraces. Even though we're exempt from 91, we're not exempt from certain public accommodations. And I can share this with anybody if we can get into detail later on it. But over 51% of the floor is as defined under the ordinance as public. We'll keep it quick about energy and carbon, but we are going to comply with all the BERDO requirements, and we are looking at new ways like hot water recovery in the drains to help reduce energy, low flow fixtures. Of course, we'll set the building up for so that we can connect solar PV at a later date, and our goal is to make this one of the most efficient hotels in the area. We are addressing climate resiliency. We will be, and I can provide more detail without going into, unless anyone has any questions on this. Transportation, the hotel is close to the Blue Line, of course. This being in your neighborhood, I probably don't need to give you all the detail on that. Silver Line, and of course the bike lane. We will be providing bicycles as an amenity to our guests. We are removing the loading dock that is currently there with that big coiling door, and we're going to be replacing that with steel doors. That will be where we have where trash gets picked up and removed, but it will be concealed and will look much like the restaurant windows. We are asking the city, and I know this came up in conversation in the other hearings. We're looking to do some sidewalk upgrades. We would like to have a detent in the Atlantic Avenue so that people can safely be dropped off and picked up in front of the hotel without interfering with the bike lane. I will tell you that at one point we did ask the city about bringing the traffic up onto the sidewalk like the Boston Harbor Hotel, and I'm not sure if that is something that they're going to consider. Accessibility, the building will be fully ADA compliant and will meet the requirements of the Massachusetts Architectural Accessibility Board. It's very important to us that our hotel is set up so that all can enjoy. This is just kind of a this is just a floor plan showing the accessible route through the building. As you can see, you can enter the front of the building, walk all the way through the back of the building in a wheelchair or not, and make it all the way down onto the Harbor Walk. As I was saying before, we are exempt from Chapter 91, and I can provide any further information if anybody would like to get into the detail of that. Again, the building was built in 1899 by Kendall Taylor Stevens and developed for Charles Francis Adams and Philip Dexter. It's had a lot of different uses. It was a cigar retailer, marine hardware, printers, engravers, manufacturers, and I believe it was even a chocolate. They were making chocolate in the building at one point. We found some information on that.
What is the current use of the building?
The building is currently vacant. It used to be Gouldston Stores law firm. The whole building was occupied for 40 years by a law firm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What are your plans for the roof? I kind of couldn't see that. I know you said that you were.
Oh, the roof itself?
Yeah, what do you plan to put up on the roof besides mechanicals and?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, no rooftop amenity, no rooftop bar, no rooftop restaurant. No, we're a boutique hotel. We're quiet and discreet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's really our goal when we create these things is to create kind of a respite, not super high energy. So our milestones, we're trying to, and we're on target at the moment to go to the BPDA board in April. Hopefully we'll be in front of the Public Improvement Commission doing our pick in August, parks in September, and we are scheduled to wrap up our CDs and submit to ISD in December, and then start shortly thereafter on the interior renovations. And that is the very concise presentation.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for rushing through that.
You're welcome.
I would share with everybody that Suzanne and I and some others are on the Impact Advisory Group. And we've had a chance to discuss this with Michael and others and some of the folks on the committee. If you have particular concerns that you would like to convey to us or suggestions, please do so that they get incorporated into the conversations. We have specific things that we have requested of them. I think, be able to say, not out too much out of school, that we think that in general, they've done a really great job in putting together their proposal, in suggesting something or other that is the sort of thing that might have resulted after years of conversation with the neighborhood, hoping to end up with something like this.
Good.
Michael, you're not out of the woods yet, but congratulations on the hard work and the philosophy that you all are bringing to the effort so far. And we look forward to continue to working with you. And again, anybody who has any, Suzanne, go right ahead, please.
Another thing I didn't want to.
No, go ahead.
One of the things, Michael, that really has to be done is you've got to reach out to the Greenway. The executive director of the Greenway was here. He's had to leave for another event, but his concern is that no one from the project has approached the Greenway, and the Greenway is directly across the street from this building. So it has a definite impact. That's not to say that there's anything that the Greenway is concerned of. It's just that they really need to see this presentation and also have be able to discuss their thoughts with the project.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, Michael Vaughn and I have talked about this. It is fully our intent to reach out to the Greenway here shortly. So that's actually on our agenda as we're going through the different groups. So they'll be hearing from us very shortly.
Great.
And hopefully, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I was lucky actually to get down to Florida with all the canceled flights. Getting out of here was just a nightmare. And I apologize, you can't see my face, but I have a voice for radio. When my camera's not working on this laptop. So, but thank you so much for having us. And I really do appreciate it. Certainly.
Michael, one question.
Are you established as a branded or not branded property? Are you independent?
So, right, we are not, we are approaching this in a way that if it becomes a branded property, it will be after we complete our branding of it. So it would be like a soft brand. I don't want to mention any, it would, if it were a branded property, it would be on the soft branded side of one of the major hotel groups. Projected opening would be at this moment right now, it would be in early 2028.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you.
Let's see.
We're
going to have Maria. Maria, do you have, is Maria here?
She's on.
Oh, you're online. Do you want to share anything with us, or Maria, or are you just going to give us an update?
Yeah, I just have two quick things. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there with you all tonight. I usually am, but I just want to share a quick opportunity coming up through the Mayor's Office of Civic Organizing, which is in my cabinet, the Community Engagement Cabinet. This spring, the city is again hosting Love Your Block, which is the annual citywide cleanup and beautification effort. It's a great way for neighbors to come together, clean up parks, streets, and open spaces, and really take part in, community building. Last year alone, over 3,000 volunteers helped clean more than 150 sites across Boston. So I think that it's a really impactful initiative. We did do, when the snowstorm hit, we organized a shoveling meetup, which was really great. I think it was really great to see neighbors come together and, help clear our ramps and sidewalks that, were taking a little longer to get cleaned up. If anyone is interested, you can sign up to either host a cleanup or volunteer at one. The registration does close March 30th, and resources are given out on a rolling basis. So the earlier you register, the better. I'm happy to share the link, or I can send it to Suzanne and she can send it out, or anybody can reach out to me to get involved. So there's that. And then also I did want to bring up the North End did so this is for like our older adult community. There's a senior coalition that was started in the North End, which is basically a group of local organizations and residents that meet monthly to support and stay connected with seniors in the neighborhood. So it's a really great way for seniors to be involved and kind of know what's going on. They have a really helpful website with the calendar of events happening across the North End at places like the library, community center, like the Nazaro, ABCD, NEMPAC, along with so many other great resources. So I'm also happy to share that link as well. They just created the website and I happened to like go through it, and I think it's just a really great resource for all of our older residents. So if you're looking to get involved with that, I'm happy to drop my information in the chat. So if anybody has connections or wants to connect about anything else, I'm happy to do that as well. So thank you.
Great, Maria. Thank you so much. Any questions?
I just noticed that Samantha Peracchi is on from Councilor Coletta Zapata's office.
Before, I
Yeah.
just wanted to add
Sure.
one thing with what Maria mentioned about the Love You Block. Last year, we had one of our folks participating in it. Fernando was involved. I participated with Fernando, and it was an interesting experience. I would recommend it. It's a very community building experience.
Down in the North End, it's really nice.
So if anybody is interested, as Maria said, there is information on it. I'm happy to pass it on to folks. We'll get it on our website, but it does have a limited shelf life in terms of when you have to respond. I think March 30th.
Earlier,
But-
better. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
And they bring people together. So if you're interested and more people are interested, they will connect you all together. So I would encourage people to look at it.
So Samantha Peracchi from Councilor Coletta Zapata's Councilor Coletta Zapata's office is on there in case you have anything to add.
Hi, yes, thank you, Matthew. So I did want to just announce that the North End and Wharf District Budget Town Hall that Councilor Coletta Zapata will be hosting is actually this Thursday from 6 to 8 at the Nazaro Community Center in the North End. So if anyone would like to stop by, any budgeting question, concerns, anything that you guys would like to see, this is a great place to have that conversation and to bring up those things. So I just wanted to make sure that I announced that. Obviously, we would love to have you there. And again, any questions, anytime, I'm happy to chat. I will also put my information in the chat so that you guys have it. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much. Sprinting on to Teresa and Jenny to talk about the Boston Community Choice. Okay. And I do believe that I have a.
Many presentations, so I'm trying my best to make this really quick and really just like catering to like what you need to know, and then any other questions you guys have after, I'll be here after the meeting's over, but also like follow up either email, calling, whatever's easiest for y'all. So my name is Jenny. I work for the city of Boston in the environment department, but specifically for the city's municipal aggregation program, Boston Community Choice Electricity. That just means that's the city's electricity supply program.
There we go. You got it,
Awesome.
yeah.
Just go on the next slide, please. Awesome. So if you're not, really digging deep into your Eversource bill, you have the supply charge and your delivery charge. As we all know, the delivery charge typically is the biggest portion of our bill. Unfortunately, the city's electric supply program does not deal with that. That all has to do with Eversource. Please take it up with the state manager. So it replaces essentially just the supply portion of your bill. Can you go on the next slide, please? One more. So what it means, it's one of It's one of the many aggregation programs in Massachusetts. It's not the only one. It's actually one of the newer ones compared to many other towns and municipalities in the state, but it is the largest. About now it's grown since this presentation was made, so about 70% of the cities are already part of the program. It's an opt-out program, not opt-in, so meaning that any new Eversource accounts that get made within the city are automatically enrolled. And we do it, the city does it on a quarterly basis, so we'll send out a mail about a month in advance to let you know, and you can make a decision on opting out and things like that. And then it's also available for not just residents, but also commercial accounts. So if you're a small business owner, you're able to enroll into the program. If you're like, like your community spaces, worship spaces, things like that are also able to enroll. Next slide, please. One more. One more. Sorry, that's that. So typically there's 3 ways that you can typically get your supply from. The most obvious way is getting your supply from Eversource, and Eversource delivers your electricity to yourself. The second way, which before the program started, which was February of 2021, was going through a competitive electricity supplier. These are just private companies who are selling you electricity. You sign a contract with them. You buy them with their rate. Still Eversource is still delivering your electricity and it's going to you. So the way this works is that the city contracts with the supplier. We use like the city's buying power in order to like lower rates and have it more competitive to make it worth their while. And so basically, if you're enrolled in the account, the electricity still goes directly to Eversource to you, but you just pay the program's rate rather than if you're going directly to them, the competitor's rate or through Eversource's rate. One thing to keep in mind is that Eversource does change their rates every 6 months, so that's why you might see fluctuations in your bill. The city, we do our contracts typically for 2-year period, so they're a lot more stable to kind of protect the market from volatile things that are happening right now and has been happening. Next slide, please. These are our current rates now. We just started our new contract this past December. Our default majority of our accounts are on the standard. If you or someone or someone who wants like 100% renewable energy, we have that option. And all that renewable energy is generated in New England area. 50% of it is from solar panels, 47% of it is from like wind turbines, and the rest is like hydro. Just comparison. Next slide, please. Thank you. If you've been on the program since they started, these are just a chart of like how much money you've actually saved if you've been already enrolled in the program. So for example, if you've been on standard since 2021 and we're still on it in December 2024, you saved over $1,200 on your bills. It's more now, we just need updated numbers on our chart. Next slide, please. Reasons why we have this is because of competitive electricity suppliers. The city does not recommend residents or small business actually engaging with them unless you feel like very secure and feeling like really knowledgeable about the energy landscape. We've had a lot of overwhelming residents calling us being like, hey, someone just called saying they're from Eversource, and then now like they said they need my information, but then like they're asking for like gift cards to pay the bill or like sudden shut-offs. Or we have people saying like they've gotten a bunch of mail, like marketing scams, spams, thinking they're from the city, just were confused. Another big one is folks tabling in front of grocery stores, being like, hey, like if I just need to see your bill like for something, you can get like a gift card or things like that. I've recently had someone come to my building, knocking on my door, saying like, hi, I'm with Eversource, we're just doing an energy survey. And like obviously, like if I was in this position, I would give him my information. And then I was like, no, you're not. So I totally believe actually. I was like, you're scamming me. So the Attorney General Office actually does a report every year since 2018 talking about these competitive suppliers and how much Massachusetts residents are losing money because of them. Next slide, please. These are just like a map, like a heat map to see where the highest percentage of competitive suppliers like accounts are enrolled and where the neighborhoods they hit the most. Next slide, please. This is kind of like a bill guide. I have paper copies if you prefer a paper copy. They're also found on our website, boston.gov/BCCE. And I also can send Suzanne a PDF version as well if that's also easier for y'all. Here you can only find who your supplier is on 2 parts of your bill, so that's why it's a little confusing for a lot of folks. On the front page, you'll be in this blue box, it'll say billing for City of Boston CCE. If it says that on your bill, you're already on the program and you're all set. And the only part of the bill where you see your supply rate will be on the second page of your bill. On the line that says generation service charge, it'll give you your last monthly kilowatt usage multiplied by your rate. So that will tell you exactly where your rate is and what plan you're already on. Slide. And then utility assistance, if you or someone you know need utility assistance, if you receive any of these benefits, you can still be on BCC and still get the discount rate program with Eversource, which is about a 42% discount on your entire bill. Next slide, please. Monthly, yeah. This one is also important, is the shutoff protection within the state. If you meet at least one of these requirements between the months of November and March, the Eversource can't shut off your electricity, even if you're not paying your bill. And these are kind of just like a summary of like how to get in contact with us, like main points. And if you have any questions, I'm here. I hope I think I went a little fast. I hope take some questions if you have them.
Yes, question. If you are not on that plan now, in those numbers that you show,
yes,
what would people do? Like you say, gee, I'm not on it.
Yeah.
What can I do to get them?
So if you go to your bill and you see on your bill, like where we saw billing for City of Boston, if you see Eversource, it most likely means you have a supply block on your account, which maybe you don't really remember. It would be right here. If it says Eversource here, that means Eversource is both your supplier and the one delivering your electricity. Most likely means you're on a, if you've been in your home for a while, most likely means you have just the supply block. You might have called Eversource a long time ago or recently saying like, hey, I'm keep getting these things, like I want them to stop. It's a little click on their button on their end where it just prevents anyone from changing your supplier without your knowledge. If you still want to be on the city's program and you have the supply block, it's recommended to call Eversource. Let them know you want to remove the block. Give it about 48 hours and then you can enroll. Now, if it doesn't say billing for City of Boston and doesn't say Eversource, that means you are 100% on a competitive electricity supplier. I would suggest taking a look at your rates, see how much they're charging you, giving it a comparison to what the city has and what Eversource has. Most likely it will be more expensive. We recommend giving them a call, asking them about your contract terms, even if you don't remember signing a contract with them, just because they do take advantage of, the lack of knowledge in this space. You might have signed something you didn't even know. Ask about termination fees, ask how much they are if they say you have a contract or you have a termination fee. If they say you don't, you're all set, you can cancel and enroll into the city's program. If you say they do, we always let people know to say, can I waive the fee? Sometimes if you ask them to waive the fee, they will. And then we also like off the record tell people to escalate the problem if they say they won't waive the fee, because we never want people paying these high termination fees. I know I've had a resident a couple months ago who her termination fees was like $250. So it wasn't really worth it in the long run for her to wait out the contract at first. But those are what the next steps are. Of course, that was kind of a lot of steps. So reach out if you have like personalized questions for your accounts.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have two more things. So Heather and Lauren have been working hard on our important ownership study, and I'm going to pull that up for us to all take a look at. And if you want to come up here and introduce yourselves and what we're doing.
So hi everybody. I know a lot of you. Some of you I don't. It's nice to meet you. I'm Lauren Shirtleff, principal of Ellison Planning and Development. I focused on urban planning and real estate development. I'm a consultant, but in my prior life, where I probably came across many of you, I was with the Boston Planning and Development for 15 years into planning function.
I'm Samantha Peracchi, principal of Levitt Strategies.
Make sure you're close enough to this so that people on Zoom can hear, okay?
I'm principal of Levitt Strategies. Similar to Lauren, I spent 22 years at the
agency formerly known as the Boston Planning and Development Agency. I'm working with some of you in this room, meeting some of you along the way. So thanks for having us back. We're really excited to be outreached by Mark to help with this project, which we really, it is an ownership research project, but it's also an outreach project. So we'll get into a little bit more of the details, and this will be quick. It really is building off of actually what Cheryl was talking about with the North End in the study, and partnering with the City of Boston and ACE so that we can move from sort of the risk analysis into the design phase, which again, I probably know more about this than I do, given your interest in this over the past several years, and congratulations on the award for your plan. So we're trying to sort of take this to the next stage, and like I said, it's really research, which a lot of that has been done. And now we're sort of in the middle of the outreach piece. So Lauren, you know, advances.
So this is our scope here, was to really start to try to dig into some of the stuff, identifying the entities that have any sort of legal interests or ownership rights within the study area. Study area, I should note, is the Work District Council's geography waterfront side. So where the greenways goes, we stop. We're doing right now, we're consolidating the ownership data as mentioned for parcels, buildings and structures, water sheets and submerged lands, segments of public access ways like Harper Walk, identifying where we can, either easements, license agreements, long-term leases or other encumbrances that we can find through basically research through public records, but also talking to people if they're comfortable sharing these details with us. And we're hoping to, once we conclude this first phase, it's to provide you guys with a pretty clear idea and understanding of who owns what is the universe of the people you'll be dealing with as you move forward into the next phases.
Let me just add, the reason that we've asked Lauren and Heather to do this is that when we're talking with the folks from the Army Corps of Engineers, and they express their concerns about the major costs, risks, and impediments, if it's not the number one, it's certainly the number two greatest concern they have is what they call the real estate side of things, which is getting the permission that they need from the right people to do the things that are going to keep us safe, right? And as they do their projects around the country, this is a regular challenge that they have, is getting the approvals that they need from the people who control the real estate on which they're going to build their resilience work. And so ours is a particular, is it particularly complicated?
Stay so.
Yeah, can you give us an example of why it's so complicated here?
Let's start with Long Wharf, right? All right. So Long Wharf is most of it is owned by the entity that is the BRA still. But the buildings on Long Wharf are owned by a different entity. But yet there's also MBTA easements, not just for the head house, but as you go down, you think of the tunnel, the ventilation, the emergency egress. Then there's the BRA, rightfully has been licensing out rights to different tenants, both on the water sheet, but even on, the portions of the actual pier. So like for say, instance, like the landing, that's like a bar, right? So you've got that as well in there. And then you've got, the blue line going underneath. You've got the central artery on the other side. So it's really complicated.
Is it National Park Service too?
They don't have any ownership rights, but because of the way there was like and I'm going to forget the name of it right now without my spreadsheet in front of me, but they do have some sort of rights to review what's going on because of the way, I want to say back in the 70s or 80s, the city received some funding from them to do some upgrades. And that, but forever now, you have to come and talk to us, which is an added layer, right? Then there's even just thinking about, how do you get the state involved? That's been one thing that's struggling with. I don't know if you feel in case you have any contacts. So if we want to go to the next slide, somebody can help kind of further talk about this. So the things that we've done to date include we've actually developed a narrative for you guys to use to reach out to additional stakeholders as we move ahead. We've started on a pretty serious spreadsheet that's got all of the information of who owns what, the assessing data, which is sometimes different, we've got a number of the chapter 91 licenses. We've got a lot of the deeds. We have where we've been able to find within deeds without reading, a 400-page deed times, 40 properties, a good sense of what easements exist. And through meeting with people, property owners and others, we have begun to have a better understanding of leases and licenses. We also, of course, being former VRA staffers, have covered some renewal law, as you would expect. All of this we have in a Dropbox, so there's a repository of all of these records that we will, hand to you guys when the text is appropriate.
And we will be sharing that with the city and with the Army Corps, because, this is our way of showing all those folks that we want to be good citizens and good teammates in this effort, where they had a concern and we were in a position to be able to help. So
next. So these are the properties by at large that we have done some research on. Not included on this is, there's some agencies that we've reached out to and talked to. We've got, there's a MassDOT parcel that's actually owned by the Turnpike Authority, which no longer exists, for instance. So somebody's looking in that. It's only 200 feet, and it's right as you get out of the aquarium and BTA stop on the escalator. And every time I go by there now, I'm like, but also, we did have a great meeting with the MBTA real estate folks. They were really helpful last week, and we had meetings with, I'm not gonna say all of these, but representatives from, I would say a little over half of these, right? And it's been proving really helpful. Most people are more than happy to share information. I think that that's another thing is we can get helpful intermediary.
So you're close to wrapping this up, and we have a meeting with Chris Osgood and the city.
We do. Friday?
Yeah, something like that. And when they wrap that up, Heather and Lauren will be moving on to the next phase of this, which is to gather ownership and contact information for the rest of the parcels in the Wharf District. So by the time we get done with this, we'll have some idea of who we are.
Oh, well, initially, include all the. So,
yeah,
I think it's down to probably around. Could be even. I'm literally just starting, and so we have a calculated approach. Spend too much time duplicating things, so Heather moving it into different scales, but trying to just go in and say, is this, somebody who owns this, and then why is there also a record of this? Because you start with assessing. The city obviously is taxing people for different purposes. But that, we don't need to necessarily know like the retail tenant for such and such. That's less important. So it's kind of going through and being that. Now I'm getting in weeds on the details.
Well, thank you for this important work that you're doing. And here's just another example of how we're trying to slowly move the ball forward. Thanks. I'm going to make one quick presentation here, which is about our kiosk project, and then I think that we are done. Let's see, is this one?
And there's no votes.
Right, there are no votes. So I'm sharing.
If you click on Maria's, you see the two arrows like on the side.
Yeah, I did. I thought.
But you have to go on the one on the left. Like the
this one over here. Oh, no, thanks. Num. Okay. So I think that hopefully most of you know that we have been working on this program to put out a bunch of kiosks. We are currently planning, any luck,
Maybe
3 or 4, 5 locations, probably just 4 kiosks. This has been a very complicated conversation over the last 4 months, but
on all phases.
Yeah, but I think we're there. So these kiosks are going to be, I'll show you where they're gonna be located. They are 3 feet wide and 8 feet tall. They're all temporary. They're secured against motion and wind by a series of sandbags that are going to be on each side. Suzanne and I have been to visit the manufacturer and they're about to start making them. So just to give an idea of
They're about the size of a vending machine, right?
a very tall one.
Or Coke machine.
Yeah. Every word has been scrutinized, and the way it works is that there's an image of what the Wharf District has proposed, and there is a QR code. The QR code takes you to a video, the video that we created, a short survey about very short, like it's 1 or 2 questions. And then the ability for people to be able to share their email to be able to get updates on an ongoing basis about what's going on. So the locations that we have are, this is at the aquarium. And each one of these property owners has had a specific requirement and as to where they're located. So this is going to be in approximately that location. You can see the person there taking a selfie. At Harbor Garage, it's going to wrap one of the columns on Atlantic Ave. So that won't need sandbags on that one. The Greenway is relatively near the visitor center and on the way as you would go across to the Columbus Park. It was the same person. In Columbus Park, there's a slightly different version of it that talks about flooding levels at different years because the other graphics were not considered relevant to this particular location. And then finally, we are still working on getting approval for one out at the end of Long Wharf, which may get wet at some point. Which
It will right there.
Which would be just fine.
Yeah.
Because that kind of proves the point. So these are all scheduled to go to be installed the first week in May. Will be up until November. We want them done there so that crowds who come for FIFA and for Sail Boston will get a chance to see it, see the video, sign up, and learn a little bit more about the challenges we face. Any question about the kiosks?
Looks superb.
It does.
Yeah.
I have a comment, not a comment. In my discussions with the Parks Department.
Yeah.
They're asking us if we could talk to them about the material or the information on the QR codes.
Yeah.
And if there's any possibility that they could have something about information they need as well.
We can always do that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But
That just happened today.
Yeah, well, let's get their permission and then
We're almost there. We have basically their permission.
that's great. We can always change what's on the QR anytime.
Well, that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yep. Any other comments on this? It is 7:01. Thank you all. Good night, everybody online. Thank you, Florie. Thank you all.
Thank you.